Okay, today we're going to learn about graphing a point and graphing slope-intercept form. So when you're plotting a point, you have to first identify the x and the y values. Okay, so our x values are along this axis here, and then our y values are along this axis here, and you're looking for where they intersect. So you're going to locate the values on the x and the y axis and plot the point where x and y meet. So for example, if you had to plot -5, 4, okay, this -5, that's my x value, so that's here, and then my 4, that's here. So where they intersect, right, would be right here. So that's the point, -5, 4. So we're going to plot the following points on the coordinate plane. So 2, 5. So here's my 2, okay? Here's my 2. There's that line there. And then 5 along on the y-axis right here. So my point 2, 5 is right there. 3, 9, same idea. So 3 is here on my x-axis. And 9 is here on my y-axis. So my point is where they intersect at 3, 9 right there. So next we're going to plot the points -2, 7. So -2 along my x-axis is right here. 7 is right there. And so my point is right here where they intersect. -3, 5, so -3 along my x-axis, that's this line right here, and 5 along my y-axis is right here, so there's where they intersect. That is the point, -3, 5. So I want you to pause the video and try these in your groups to see if you can get them. Okay, now let's look. So 4, 5 should be 4 here along the x-axis and 5 here along the y-axis, and so they intersect right here. 8, -3, 8 along the x-axis and -3 on the y-axis, and they intersect right there. Okay. 2 more. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can get these in your groups. All right. So -2, -6. So -2 is here along the x-axis. -6 is right here along the y-axis. There's our point right there. -1, -6. Here's -1 on my x-axis. Here's -6 on my y-axis. Here's our point right here, -1, -6. Hopefully you guys are getting this. Okay. 9, 0, and -1, 0. So 0 is you haven't gone up or down or left or right on your coordinate plane. So 9, 0. Here's my 9, but then 0 on my y-axis and 0 on my x-axis. It's actually right here. So 9, 0 is right on the x-axis, right there, right on that 9. Same idea for -1, 0. So here's -1 on my x-axis, but then 0 on my y-axis. I'm not going up or down anything, so that's right here on my x-axis. Okay. 0, -3, and 0, -8. So my 0 is in another spot. So 0 is still right here along my x-axis. Then -3 on my y-axis is right here. So it's actually on my y-axis. Okay, so 0 -3 is right here. So if the 0 is first, it's on your y-axis, as opposed to in the previous two examples, the 0 was here, so it's on the x-axis. Okay? So 0, -8. So -8 on my y-axis is right here. So my point 0, -8 is right here. So again, the 0 came first, so it's on my y-axis. So now we're going to talk about slope-intercept form, which you all have said that you've seen before. So you have y equals mx plus b. Previously, you were told what the slope was and you were told what the y-intercept was. Here, you just have to pull the y-intercept out from right here, plot that, and then you plot the slope. So this is, you did this on your quiz. We just listed what the slope was. We listed what the y-intercept was. Now we're actually going to give it to you in slope-intercept form. So the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So we're going to start with finding the slope. Okay, so again, the slope is rise over run. Okay, so I'm going to start at one of these points, and I have my rise. I'm going up 2, so that's a rise of 2, and then I'm going to do a run, which is positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope is 2 over 5. Okay. My y-intercept, that's on my y-axis. It's actually right here. It's that point right there, which is 2. So in slope-intercept form, it's y equals 2/5 x, because it's y equals mx, so slope x plus b, so plus 2. So in slope-intercept form, this first one is 2/5 x plus 2. Let's look at this next one here. Okay. So this next one, I'm going to do my rise over my run. So I'm going to start here, and I have a rise. I'm going in the positive direction, right, up. So I have a rise of 2. And then I have a run. Well, I'm going in the negative direction. I'm going to the left. That's a negative direction. So I would give negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. I screwed that up. Look at that. That's surprising. That's really surprising. So I actually have a rise of 1. I went in the positive direction, so it's 1. And then a run of negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's negative 6. So my slope is negative 1 over 6. Or 1 over negative 6 would be the exact same thing. B, that's my y-intercept, is right there. That's where B is. And that's at negative 1. So my equation is y equals m, which is negative 1/6, x plus b, which is negative 1. So it's negative 1/6 x minus 1. And then lastly, okay, I'm going to pick 2 points. So here's 1 point, and here's another point. It looks like, actually, I can pick another one that's even closer. So there's my 2 points. I have a rise of 1 and a run of 1, which is 1 over 1. 1 divided by 1 is just 1. B is my y-intercept, and here it's at negative 2, right? These are all of my negative numbers, so it's negative 2. So my equation is y equals 1x, or you can just say x, 1x or x, minus 2. I'm not going to talk right now about the domain where the function is positive or negative. We're just going to talk about graphing these. So let's graph the equation y equals 2x plus 4. So before we begin, let's identify the slope and the y-intercept. So the slope, okay, the slope is mx. So the slope there is 2. And if it helps, you can write that as 2 over 1, a rise of 2 and a run of 1. And then my y-intercept is this plus b here, this plus 4, okay? So we're going to plot the y-intercept on our graph. That's right here, okay, on my y-intercept on the vertical line. And then from the y-intercept, use the slope to plot your next point. So I'm going to do a slope of 2. So it's a rise of 2 and a run of 1. So my next point is at the point 1, 6. I'm going to draw a line through my 2 points, and then every point on that line is a solution to my equation. Okay, so there's my line there. So this next one, graph the equation y equals negative 1/3 x. So the number that goes with x, that's your slope. So this negative 1/3, negative 1/3, that's my slope. My y-intercept, so this is interesting. I don't have one, and so the number for not having one is 0. So my y-intercept is 0. So I'm going to first plot the y-intercept. If it's 0, it's right there at the origin. Okay, that's a y-intercept of 0. So that's at the origin. Okay. Then from the y-intercept, use the slope to plot my next point. So my slope is negative 1/3. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go down 1, so negative 1, and then over 3. So I have a rise of negative 1, and then a run of positive 3. So there's my next point there. So I can make another one. So a rise of negative 1, and a run of 1, 2, 3. That's my next point. And then I connect my points, and that's my line. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and you try on your own. Okay, if you've tried, okay, we're going to start with my y-intercept is negative 3. So there's my y-intercept of negative 3. And then I have a slope of 1/2. So I have a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So I'm going to go up 1 and then to the right 2. Up 1 and to the right 2. And then I just connect my points. The next one, here's my y-intercept is at negative 4. So I'm going to plot that point. And then I have a slope of negative 4/9. So I'm going to zoom in here real quick. So I go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the right 9. So one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative. So I went down 4 and then to the right 9. Now notice when I connect these points, okay, if my slope is negative, this looks like it's going downhill, right? And then the last one, the slope was positive, and from left to right, this was going uphill. So it says a positive slope is always going to look like it's going uphill, and then negative slope, if you read it from left to right, just like you read a book, it's going downhill if it has a negative slope. So it's a good check to make sure you did that right. So what if we wanted to graph this? Y equals negative 2, okay? If there isn't an x there, then x could be anything. X could be 1, 2, 5, 11, doesn't matter. But y is always going to be negative 2. So if you want to graph the line, y equals negative 2, it's a horizontal line right here at negative 2. So x is negative 1, x is 0, and you have this line, y equals negative 2. Okay. So that is a horizontal line. You're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to the fact that that's a horizontal line. Y equals anything would be a horizontal line. Looks like the horizon. As opposed to, so it's the slope of that line. So let's just do our regular slope formula, right? Which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if I do that, let's say that I took the points let's say I took 0, -2, and then the point -1, -2, right? That's what we did up here. So they have -2 minus -2, and just as a reminder, if you minus a negative, it becomes plus. -2 plus 2 is 0, and then -1 minus 0 is -1. If you divide 0 by anything, you get 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is 0. I would make sure that I understood that and memorized that. So of a horizontal line, your slope is 0. Not undefined. I think some people think it's undefined, but it's not. It's 0. Now let's graph x equals 3. We just got done doing y equals -2. Now if you have x is 3, if there's not a y, then the y can be anything, and x is locked in at 3. So x is 3, y is 2, x is 3, y is 0. You get a vertical line. So if you have x equals anything, you have a vertical line at what x is. What's that slope? Well, let's look at that a little bit differently. Again, our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, the slope of a vertical line, let's say that we had 2 points of 3, 2, and 3, 0. So that's what they did up here. They took that and they found the slope. So they did 2 minus 0 over 3 minus 3, and they got 2 divided by 0. Well, you can't divide by 0. It's not possible. You can't divide a pizza into 0 slices, right? You have 1 slice if you never slice up the pizza, but you can't slice the pizza up into 0 slices. It's not possible. So that's why we get the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Again, this is something that I would make sure that I remembered or understood. Okay, so let's look here. This is a vertical line. So here's how I remembered this. I'm going to take 2 points, right? So this is a vertical line. So I've got, this is the point 3, 0, and right here is the point 3, 2. So it looks like, see how my x values hasn't changed? That means my equation is x is 3. And if I take 2 points on this next one, let's say I took here and here, that would be the point 1. Oops, let me write it over by that. This is the point 1, -1. And then the next one is the point 3, -1. And if you notice, my y value didn't change. And since my y value didn't change, that's y equals -1. So that's always how I remembered it. I thought it was easier. I can't memorize stuff very well, but I could do that, and that made most sense to me. So you have homework on Delta Math, and you have a test on Thursday. Remember that you can come for a help session from 4 to 5 on Teams, and you can find that link on CTLS. I also send it to you in an email, but it is on CTLS.